Hello, Grover.
And yep.
All right, you're here.
You hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me? That's fine.
Yeah, perfect.
You spared the galaxy a solo podcast by Bloominwind.
It sounds like you got a bit of feedback or
Probably have some bit of feedback because I got a dog knocking my laptop out of my hand. So
right.
Yeah, so that kind of doesn't really help the situation. I think they are seeking a bride. I know it encourages bad behavior, but it's just one of those things where. So, shall we attempt to kick this pig?
Yeah, shall we decide who's doing what first?
I think I'll host and I'll kick things over to you when it's time to kick things over to you. Yeah. All right. So, welcome everybody to the Loose Screws podcast. It is the 327th episode for the 9th of April, 2026, or 33012-ish.
Oh, you already did it.
You can do it too. Do it.
Toriro, Tacoma, Ruish, Elvish.
That's
There we
awesome.
go. A little bit of Māori. We add the international flavor.
I love it. We don't get enough Maori. We definitely don't get enough Maori. All righty. So this is our one YouTube listener's favorite part of the show. It is the "What did you do all week" part. So Grover, tell us what you did all week. I've heard you had some exciting news.
Oh yeah, it's been a week with not a lot of sleep and nerves because I have gone for a pretty senior position within my organization, and so I had a job interview on Wednesday afternoon, and it went pretty well. And so yeah, after that, not a lot of sleep because I'm wondering what's happening, and I'm the only internal applicant, and there's some pretty heavy hitting externals. But this morning I got rung by the CEO and asked if I wanted to go to China next month to a big trade show, and with a group from our of all different kind of educational people in our country. And then I've got my final interview with the chair of our governance board next Wednesday. So
you're interviewing with you're interviewing with the chair of the board. So like the guy who's the boss of the CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
So like we're a fairly decent sized organization, about 1,300 staff and about 20,000 students. So it's a sizable organization with a sizable budget, and now, the fact that the board chair is taking time out to talk to me is probably not insignificant. So
no,
let's try and get the nerves down.
Yeah, no, I mean, good luck to you. I mean, it's really exciting. And make sure some of that nice sized budget that they have makes its way into your wallet.
Oh yeah, I'll be asking for a tech budget as well if I get offered the job.
Yes.
But apart from that, in game, I got my second alt, and who I just called the whale, and all their job was to be on my carrier and refuel it. Mm-hmm. But I got them off the carrier because I wanted to upgrade them a bit. They had a chunk of money, about $1 billion, that they'd just been able to accumulate by selling my main tritium and doing runs in Type 9. But it was that account didn't have Odyssey, so I got Odyssey for it. Brought them back to the bubble via Escape Pod, and realized I had a whole bunch of mined materials in the cargo hold of the T9, and I couldn't bring it back without losing them. And so I did that, and then found out that actually, no, there are ways I could have done it, but that's all right. It wasn't a huge amount. And just when I've been able to get on, and I've been working on them, just doing their first kind of power play missions, because they weren't signed up to power play. The character's got no engineering or anything. So I'm going through all of that, but I just wanted a character that I could actually use and help out where possible, and didn't matter if they died, because some of my other characters, or one of my other alt, is holding a bit of data at the moment, so I don't want to risk that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you don't want to risk your carto and all the other kind of good stuff like that. Trying to do some missions, especially in hazardous territory, for sure. But yeah, the whale. Look for the whale in
yeah. So the whale. Thankfully for Frontier for allowing me to change the name, and now I've gone from the whale to the sandfly.
Okay.
Because the sandfly's small, but when you get bitten by it.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting the sandfly. Have we gotten him to join the squadron yet, or has he been in the squadron for already?
He's been in the squadron already, I think.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. He's in the squadron in game, maybe not in Ara.
Okay. Keep me posted if you need anything from an engineering standpoint or what have you, if you do those things.
Yeah.
And should our audience get Odyssey? I mean, I know the whale didn't have Odyssey, but do you think the audience should get Odyssey?
Well, if you listen to the likes of our esteemed Daxi, he would start answering, and then he'd go AFK. But yeah, absolutely. All of my accounts are through Frontier. They're not through Steam. I did transfer originally over to Steam, and then because I have 2 alts, it was just easier to bring them all back to Frontier and just be able to organize the different logins that way. So when Steam have had sales on Odyssey and that, I've kind of missed out. But I had a look, and it was only $12, I think, in New Zealand dollars to get Odyssey. So I did that, and spent 500 of the 900 arcs that I have to change the name, and here we are.
I think I have an alt, like an option to start an alt account, but I'm not sure. I think I got like a free Epic Games version at one point, and then I think somehow I might have a Steam version, but I'm not sure. I have to figure it out at some point on the back end. I mean, I've just Commander Bloominwind's been enough space pilot for me to be doing this. I think adding an alt would be crazy, but I mean, it would be nice to kind of, now that I vaguely know what I'm doing, try to go through the whole rigmarole without learning as I go, but just knowing how to do it as I go.
Yeah, I think the value for me for my first alt was actually my main character is an explorer. That's their jam, and I kept on running back to the bubble to get things or to contribute in group activities and that. So just being able to put them in their carrier out and just go to them when I want to explore, and then when I want to be in the bubble and contributing with squadron activities or do other things I can, and not have to worry about running around and grinding so much, just allowing the natural gameplay to allow me to pick up stuff that I need, materials and things like that. And if I did want to go for an engineer, I'd just spend a little bit of time with that. And I still haven't unlocked all the engineers for that one, but it's given me more than enough that I need to kind of participate in our BGS and our power play activities. And so, and then this other one is just to be that little annoying thing that I character that I can pull out when I want to just go and help out with easy things like elections and simple running of data or whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean that's very much appreciated because yeah, I mean if I decide to dust off that theoretical alt out there, I probably would do it for exploration. Because the one thing is that when we did Distance Cruise 3, I loved it, but there was that one community goal, and I think it was one where we could get one of those supersized cargo racks, and I just made a beeline back to the bubble so that I could participate in that because there was no way I was not going to get one of those cargo racks. So I think that was the community goal. Might have been something else, but it was just one of those things where it's just like, no, I do not want, this is something I do not want to miss out on. And then, I mean, the neutron jumping allowed me to get from point A to point B and point B to back to point A very easily. So I was able to kind of complete the run, but it was still pretty cool. So, all right. Well, good luck with your job. Keep us posted. We're rooting for you.
Yeah. Thank you. And I was going to ask about Mrs. Dr. Bloominwind because she's been in the same position, job hunting or career jumping.
Yeah, it's been a year. About a year ago, she was let go from the company that they just downsized her department, one of the health insurance companies in the U.S. And so at that point,
because they need to save money, don't they?
They do actually. Health insurance is really funny in the U.S. I mean, you hear about how they're making money, but it's a game of making money here and losing money there, and trying not to lose money more so than your and Blue Cross. I'll tell you, Blue Cross has been really struggling in some of their state companies because again, there's not like a national Blue Cross. It's like each state has its own Blue Cross insurance company, and American health insurance is very weird. So anyway, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee had some issues. There was, some fines from the U.S. government. There was not reimbursement from the U.S. government for, certain contracts that were like Medicaid, Medicare contracts. It was kind of a hot mess, and so they were trying to say, you know what, let's just stick into the insurance business, meaning we're just going to collect premiums, invest premiums, pay bills with those premiums we're collecting, and get away from some of the other programs that they had. And some of these programs were, saving money for them, but it was a question of how you calculated it if they were saving money or not. And my wife ran one of those programs where what they were doing was closing gaps of care and improving quality of the primary care clinics that are the big clinics that are affiliated with where they have a lot of big Blue Cross Blue Shield accounts. So a lot of Blue Cross Blue Shield customers. And so anyway, they decided that, these programs that we're trying to, these preventative programs, hoping that prevention would save money, they just decided, some people decided it was too expensive, so they eliminated those. Anyway, so that was a year ago. And, it was a year of, me having surgery, 2 kids graduating from high school and college, my father-in-law being sick. So, she, was looking for, she was, slowly looking for a job, but she was like, I don't want to look for a job until the summer's over because I got all these moving parts going on. And then, she was struggling to find something, and it was for someone with her credentials, and she's just a great person. That not being able to find a job was really, really frustrating for her. And then ultimately, she found an opportunity, in the new year, and she was working for this behavioral health company that had, I call them halfway houses. I don't know if that's the right term for them, but basically, when patients have eating disorders after they leave the hospital from getting stabilized from a nutritional standpoint, they'll go into a 30-day residential behavioral health program, kind of like, for somebody who, has a drug addiction, then they go to like a halfway house or something like that to transition back into society. These folks are transitioning from their eating disorders, and the place was just a hot mess. I mean, she was asked to be director of nursing, and then they wouldn't let her direct nursing. So she left that, and now she's interviewing for a hospital navigator position where basically she is in charge of the nurses who facilitate patients when they get certain cancer diagnoses, like lung cancer, for example. If you get a diagnosis of lung cancer, you're going to have to get involved with medical oncologists who give you chemotherapy, surgical oncologists who cut out the tumor, radiation oncologists who give radiation. And so, and this job that she's looking at, if she gets the job, which we're really hoping, she would be managing the nurses who guide the patients and help them, get them set up and make sure they get their appointments, they're going to the right places, they understand, okay, my cancer means that I have to have my surgery first, then my chemo. But this other person has a different kind of lung cancer, for example, and they have to get their chemo and radiation first, and then they'd have operation afterwards. And the nurses understand that, but when you're a patient, it's completely overwhelming. And so these nurse navigators basically help make sure that they understand and they get on the right pathways with the right appointments and the right things scheduled and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's great for her because her background originally was oncology. I mean, and from 1995, when she was first a nurse until she left, nursing at a hospital for Blue Cross Blue Shield around 2012. I mean, all that time she was a nurse, an oncology nurse in one way, shape, or form. I mean, at the end she was, in charge of clinical trials office. But so she was in charge of like the renal cell cancer and melanoma and a couple others, their clinical trials. So her background is oncology, and this would be a really great opportunity for her to get back to. So we're hoping. And right now she is down in Oxford with my daughter because my daughter is getting a couple of awards at graduation. So she graduates from college next month, but in their infinite wisdom, Old Miss decided to have the awards assembly in the middle of April, 3 weeks before graduation or a month before graduation. So I can't go because I'm on call. I'm covering the hospital. And so she ultimately, anyway, so she's down there getting 2 awards. One is Phi Kappa Phi or Phi Kappa Psi. It's a grad school honors society or something. And then she was inducted into that this afternoon. And then tonight she's getting, an award for being one of the top students in her accountancy graduate program. So we're very proud of her. And she's going to start working in suburban Nashville this summer. So that's what's going on in real life.
No,
real life is fun. But what's going on? Go ahead.
I remember you taking her to college.
Yes.
And now she's graduating. That's cool, but man, like, where has that time gone?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's been 5 years. I mean, I started this game right at the beginning of the pandemic, and my my daughter's senior year began that following August. So I started playing in March or February, right, of 2020. And so, her senior year, and then 2022 is when I bought a PC and, joined the Odyssey world when they had when I was able to move my account over from Xbox. So yeah, it's been, I mean, I've known you since, when I was an Xbox adjacent loose screw. So
yeah.
Yeah. But, and what's your little one up to? What's Mini Kiwi up to?
It's school holidays at the moment. So New Zealand has 4 terms over the year. Each term is about 10 weeks, and then there's a 2-week holiday. So the first holiday of the year starts straight after Easter. So she's actually going to get 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks holiday because she had hand, foot, and mouth disease on the last week. So she was at home struggling then. And then the first week school starts back, we're all heading as a family down to the bottom of New Zealand where my mum and 2 of my sisters live, just to go and spend some time with them. And I'm going to do work from there. So she gets another week off. So I am planning on her doing a bunch of things like schoolwork. So she's going to have to do some diaries and take photos and stuff that she can take back to her school. but yeah, she's just enjoying her best life, and was just out at the shopping mall and bumped into not life size, but oversized Bluey and Bingo characters from the TV show.
Ah.
So she was loving that, and yeah, now she's over next door neighbors playing with their kid.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I mean, I feel so bad when I heard she had
podcast.
Yeah, when I heard she had the hand, foot, and mouth disease, I felt so bad for her. My daughter had that once or twice when she was little, and when
twice, you can get it again.
Yeah, you can get it again. I mean, it probably wasn't as bad the second time around, but you can get it again. I mean, you just have to be exposed to some other little crumb cruncher or whatever. And I remember she was pretty miserable. But I had this one time when I was a resident where one of the things when you're a resident is sometimes you have to do this thing called night float. And when you do night float, you come in about 11 o'clock at night, unless they call you in earlier, and you admit patients from 11 p.m. until morning. And there's a cap where you can admit 5 patients or 6 patients. I forget what the number is. But once you hit that cap, you're done. So one of these nights I went in and I hit my cap. And it was the witching hour. So it was about 6:45 in the morning. And I get this call from, one of the nursing wards. And so I called them up. I was like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, listen, we just got a new admission and we need you to put in some orders. And I'm like, well, I'm capped. I mean, can't the, can I wait until it's about to be shift change? So can I get the new guys to come up and, do it? And they're like, the nurse says to me, no, you don't understand. This guy's got hand, foot, and mouth disease. He's in 11 out of 10 pain. And I just need some skeletal orders to get his pain under control. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, sure. I'll come on up. And so I run up, do a quick history and physical on the guy. I mean, he was miserable, ordered a morphine PCA pump, started him on morphine, started him on a crap ton of IV fluids because, he was dehydrated. I did my thing, and then I get downstairs about 15 minutes late to where I have to hand off all the night floats to the day teams, to the main teams. And they're like, well, what took so long? I told them the whole story and they're like, oh, yeah, well, that's okay then. No worries. They're like, we understand. I mean, it is a miserable, miserable virus. I mean, as far as, making people so awful. And it's like even worse in adults than it is in kids. I mean, kids are tough, but like adults, I mean, that guy was awful. I mean, he was dry as a chip. So yeah, I feel bad for anybody who gets that. So
yeah, the fact you can't do anything but let it run its course, and yeah, she was in agony. So
yeah,
none of us slept for a few days, but
no.
Yeah, over that now. And
yeah, I got another question for you about what your upcoming vacation. So is the bottom of New Zealand closer to Antarctica, or is the bottom of New Zealand closer to the equator?
It depends.
Is your bottom our bottom, or is your bottom our top?
Generally, yeah, our bottom is the same bottom as yours. So our bottom is close to Antarctica. But in indigenous kind of contexts, down is up. So if you look at New Zealand, the North Island looks like a stingray. We've got a tail and the sides and the head, and because the head is south, that's the top.
Yes.
So, yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Because I always wondered that. I mean, when we arbitrarily decided like which end is up and which end is not up on this planet, and it's So,
well, I wonder about people at the equator. At one point, did they flip upside down, or do they have to jump off? And what happens when someone's straddling it?
That's a good question. I mean, I know the whole thing with the toilets, where like the toilets change direction. But I mean, if you try to flush a toilet on the equator, I don't know, it probably goes straight down. So, yeah, I've never been to the equator. I've crossed the equator, but I've never known it when I was crossing it because I was in an airplane or something. But I've never been to the equator. It's on the to-do list. I have cousins in New Zealand.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah.
Explain that.
I mean, I'm trying to, in a way, I'm trying to find them because, like, I mean, I thought I found them on Facebook at one point, but wasn't quite sure. But anyway, so my grandfather, he had a half sister because when my grandfather was born, his mother died in childbirth, and his father remarried and had 3 more kids. And so one of his kids was my Aunt Alice, and so my Aunt Alice married a guy in England, and then they moved to New Zealand, and then they opened a hotel somewhere. And that was the last I heard of them. And then when I was doing my family tree, I found they had a son and 2 sons, and then at least one of the sons had kids. So there's a few of them running around there. So, but it's just a matter of trying
Don't
to
feel
track
too
them
bad.
down.
I've got cousins in New Zealand as well, and I have no idea what they are doing or where they are.
How many cousins do you have in New Zealand?
Probably too many.
Yeah.
I never knew my father. So.
Oh. All right. I didn't do in game, did I?
No, you haven't. No.
Oh, so yeah. So in game, I'm running some elections in Alexandrinus. I've been doing a little bit of power play. I did not do the community goal because I haven't learned how to do on foot yet. So, alrighty. Now we're up to segments. So I'll do the squadron briefing, and then you'll do the short PP report.
Excellent.
All right. All right. So squadron briefing. Okay. This is going to be like a low tech podcast because I don't know how to do any of those pull up the soundboard things. Sorry, Trex. This is what you get when you don't show up. All right. So squadron briefing. BGS highlights. The loose screws are in 410 star systems, and we control 121 again. We are expanding out of IC 2602 Sector Zu-Y D103. That is also known as Bloomingwind's Folly. So that system is the platinum overlap system that I set my eyes on to colonize. So Volt and I, many moons ago, started at some random point 7 jumps away, and then built a chain of 6 outposts leading to that system. So that system is actually expanding. Now, the big question is if and where it will expand. It's probably going to expand to a system called IC 2602 Sector DBX D1-19, which is 43 light years away. But I don't think you can expand that far, so it's probably going to be an expansion to nowhere. So hopefully our influence will drop and it'll cool off, because right now, the only overheating systems that we have, and by overheating I mean above the triggering of an expansion standpoint, are colony systems. So all of our old worlds are below 75% influence. We have one at 74%, and that is NLTT 2969, which is a stronghold for Liang Rui that has some good mining in it. So that one will always kind of be bubbling. But the BGS seems to be slowly healing in that regard. And then we have a big election in Alexandrinus. We're on day 4 and we're losing 0 to 3. The feds really, really, really want us to lose. They're very angry at us for having the temerity to want our system of Alexandrinus to be Liang Rui, and it just chaps their butts. And we have several other wars we're not worried about. We have a boom in 7 Andromedae, and the civil unrest that's been going on is still going on in those colony systems. So at this point, I will push it over to the short PP report with Grover.
Actually, I've got a couple of questions before we jump into that.
Okay, sure.
We are in 410 star systems.
Yes.
So can we expand from more than one system each cycle?
No, right now we can't. So you could. It's still the same BGS rules of 1 expansion per cycle. So a system will trigger expansion, and then it'll take about 10 days, give or take, and then it will drop 15 points of influence, and our faction will drop 15 points of influence, and we will enter into a new system that is within range. Now, the old rules were that if you didn't have anything in range that you could expand to, you would go into you would go into what was called investment, but they changed that whole thing around, and you no longer go into investment. But we'll see. I mean, I think 43 is out of range, so it'll just be kind of an interesting experiment because it's the first non-old world system that I've seen in expansion. So, but yeah, the whole thing. I think that, I mean, that'll lead probably to our discussion about possible fixes for BGS if we decide to, if the BGS being fixed is the future feature improvement that they've been hinting for in the fall or winter. So yeah, it's just, between Trailblazers and Power Play, so many systems were overheating, and there was a lot of bugs that got introduced to BGS with it. And some are fixed, some are not fixed. Meola still has hundreds of conflict zones of every permutation and every combination of factions that are in that system. Even when there are no active wars, they just don't go away. And then, but they did fix things like, influence is attributed to the proper minor faction when you run a mission for them. And that was a big fix. And most elections, most wars start and stop when they were supposed to. Some ticks are still kind of fussy. We've seen a few weird ticks of late, but BGS is slowly getting back to normal. It's just when you have, with Trailblazers being so successful, factions in 400 systems, and a lot of these systems have 3 or 4 factions, you're going to have a bunch of factions that are over 75%. And then, early on with Power Play, what it did to break BGS resulted in so many systems being over 75% influence that it was perpetual runaway expansion after expansion after expansion after expansion. So hopefully it'll get fixed.
14's a lot of star systems to kind of map and keep an eye out on.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm guessing too.
Bookmark that many.
No. I guess there'd be a lot of expansions just going into newly colonized systems.
Yes. Yeah, there's been a lot of that. I mean, that was a big pop-off valve for the bubble, because initially when all of this stuff happened and Trailblazers started colonizing systems, all of our overheating, worlds were jumping into and expanding into any nearby colony that we weren't presently in. So I have no idea how many of the 410 are systems that we naturally expanded into and how many of them were just part of the Trailblazers, just random luck. So, because what happens is that there's a certain randomness to the factions that are being populated in some of these. So if you're doing Trailblazers, you will bring your faction with you. So if you're a squadron's affiliated with a faction, you will always bring that with you to the system, but also whatever system you are launching your Trailblazers colonization from, you bring the controlling faction of that. So those will be 2 of the factions, and then the other one seems to be kind of random, but I haven't really paid attention to the ins and outs of it.
I remember too, so about a month ago maybe, I can't remember whether it was Lave or Galnet News Digest, showed a new tool where you could actually see the visualize where systems were in terms of their BGS powers or owners. And I was actually surprised that that new screw space was, we were present there. Is that just because you were part of that power, or that you're part of that faction when you colonized? So it automatically went to loose screws. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So the first launching off point in new screw space, when I colonized that first system, the loose screws was a minor player in that system. And then once we built our outposts in that system, I raised our raised our influence until we took control of that system. Once I took control of that system, I then started colonizing from there. And so my next one, we were the controlling faction. And then the next one after that, we're the controlling faction. So I didn't have to waste time BGSing to make us the controlling faction. And so when you look at that area of space, just by virtue of the fact that we're there, that's increased the number of times that we would randomly be part of a different system. Because you have my worlds, Volt's worlds, Ty's world, Ty Worsham's world, and Lark's and a couple of other folks out there. And so all of those by default are going to have us in there. And then if other people, and I don't know if other people were colonizing, out of any of our outposts or any of our systems, then if they were, they brought us with them. And I mean, I can tell you that when you look at Inara, because we have a pretty bright light over where New Screw Space is. It's a nice crescent.
Yeah.
So let me just go to this real quick and I'll tell you, Commander, Architect. So just from the system we are expanding from, if you click on expansion targets, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are a far larger number of systems that we control, first of all, and then that doesn't even get into the ones that we're in within 43 light years. There's probably 20 right there. And that's just from that one system. Let's go to the other farthest point from it. And when you go look at the other point of it, you just go one more. Where we started off with expansion targets. There's a whole big chunk of the Coalsack area where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 other systems where our name is attached to it as a controlling, and not so many that we're just a minor player in. So I mean, so there's some other people that have been tapping into creating launch points from where we were. So so our influence is spreading out in the new screw space. And my hope is that when they fix BGS, things will become a little bit more wieldy, because one of the things I think they really need to do is make it so that we have a little bit more control of targeting things like expansion, if that is going to be a part of that, but ultimately missions and minor factions and influence, just the whole thing kind of needs to be rethought quite a bit.
We might as well carry on talking on BGS and make it our topic, and then we can swing back to power play.
Yeah, we can do that for sure. Yeah.
What other mechanics kind of need to be redone, or are there things that not just fixed but improved? Because BGS does touch everything, and I guess the danger in doing BGS is that we then end up breaking PP and other aspects of it.
Yeah, I know. I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, if there was a way to could possibly uncouple them from each other to some degree, or make them a little bit more independent, I mean, that might be good. I mean, right now you can run missions and get influence for running missions. I mean, getting control points for running missions. And so that's something where you could have, a faction like Archer, say, and I don't know why I'm picking Archer, but let's just say, Archer as a faction, and they come to a system where that's been controlled for 5 years by a faction like the Loose Screws, just for example. It would be in their best interest to manipulate the BGS in their favor, both by starting off running a whole bunch of massacre missions, which are often given out by the other factions and not a corporate faction. And that can affect the, who's in control of that system. It could force a control war, which might really upset, the player minor faction who's been controlling that system for years. And then if, that minor faction decides, hey, we're all Liang Rui and we're going to fight back, or we're not going to put up with this garbage, they could very well, get, data from, get data from, get the data mining from, the settlements, and then, try to take control of the system. But that can be countered by forcing a bunch of wars, because if you force a bunch of wars, that locks up the settlements in
Locks up
as
the
conflict
influence,
zones. Yeah, and then you can't, and then you can't, use that lever anymore. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to haul 80 rares at a time and try to fight a group that has, that can reinforce by doing away from keyboard bounty farming. I mean, it's
yeah.
as their way of reinforcing, and it's very challenging. So uncoupling the BGS from the power play to some degree would be pretty helpful. Just by controlling, okay, well, what can you do in power play to affect power play? What can you do in BGS to affect BGS? I mean, trade really doesn't mess too much with BGS. I mean, it's an important part of it, but it's not. It's very hard to trade your way into controlling a system versus not. It's very hard. I mean, even when we had that tritium community goal, I'm not sure if you remember that many years ago,
Yeah,
where they were like buying
yeah.
tritium at stupid price, insane prices. Lambda Andromeda has 3 starports that have 500,000 tons of tritium, and they were wiped out. The markets were completely drained eventually. But, what did all that buying do to BGS? Very little. There was not a time where I was like, oh, I got to go run missions, or, oh, I got to go deliver bounties just to, make sure we stay in control of the system. So, that's the kind of things that kind of need to be thought about being recalibrated in order to, I think, create a little bit of balance. Because, I mean, I think there'll be more harmony, because, I mean, the people who love power play for playing for power play's sake, and the players who loved BGS, who can't really BGS anymore for all of the reasons. It's just, pretty frustrating, especially when it's like, okay, your player minor faction is tilting at windmills, challenging a power, and you have a limited number of levers you can pull to affect them in your system, when all you want is control of your system back, and a little peace and harmony and corporate governance.
Yeah, we're not a huge faction, but we're sizable enough to rebuff kind of major shocks. But I can imagine kind of small factions just getting absolutely hammered and chucked around all over the place.
Yeah,
and trying to figure out what's happening, and then it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think our friends, the Brotherhood of Terra Mater, I think that BGS could really do guys like them a solid. I mean, they're an anarchy faction, and anarchy factions have a lot of. They're starting off at a harder place in order to maintain their BGS control. Even when everything was working and everything was normal, it was just, there was a continuous drain against them. And I forget kind of all the ins and outs, but I think you can't bounty hunt in their systems, because since they're anarchies, no one's paying a bounty. I mean, you can murder hobo, but no one's paying you to murder hobo. So it makes it harder for them to, when they don't have those levers in BGS to allow them to do their thing. And then you have, role players in the game. And, I mean, we all role play in the game to some degree or another, but there are some role players in the game who simply hate anarchies. They're like, we think that anarchies are wrong. And so we are going to, because they have such a bad view of anarchies. They have a bad view of anarchies. So, which I don't think is fair. There are no bad anarchies. They're just bad people. And yeah. Sorry, my little page was blowing up. So they have a hard time. So I think that rebalancing and making it such that, that the governance of a system means more, but it means more in a balanced way. If they could kind of have like what mission offerings is, because I can tell you, like, whenever I am doing BGS, it's like, I can never really do I really can't, do the anarchy missions. I mean, it's like, there's so few of them that are really appealing, and then I have to somehow I can't get influence or get enough reputation with them in order to get them to give me good missions. I mean, it's like, okay, well, I have to do something really psychotic or illegal to do it. So yeah. So that's so that's some of the things I think. I mean, I think also with this new operations thing, I mean, we'll have to see how it settles out. But marrying that to BGS, as well as marrying that to power play and different kinds of missions being offered for different play activity would be really great, because these missions where you have multi-stage missions, I think are a lot of fun. I mean, I remember when I was doing my Fed rank and I was doing my Empire rank, that there would sometimes be daisy chain missions. Like you would do a mission and then they would say, well, with this stuff you brought back, we made superconductors. Now we want you to deliver these superconductors to elsewhere. And I haven't seen those kind of missions anymore. So I think that, doing some more daisy chain missions would be a welcome addition, or bringing back revisitation with the BGS. What sort of things would you like to see in it? I mean, I know you've been an explorer, but I mean, maybe tap into that.
Yeah, well, in BGS, I was kind of happy running data and elections, and not because it was anything I found particularly exciting, but because I'm like you, I'm not really an on foot. The most times I go on foot is plant scanning, but I haven't done any engineering on foot, or I'm not a first person shooter kind of person. And so, yeah, because everyone else was doing the other stuff or the combat, and we had, it was like elections were the leftover. So I'd always kind of try and do that just to ensure that we had that happening. But yeah, I really liked the follow-on missions. Just that sense of things are connected.
Yeah.
And the best games that I've played that have had like campaigns and that are the ones where you feel you're actually making a difference. You can see the impact that you're having, even if it's just in one area. So it's the big thing for me with BGS is where they've taken that away, because there's so much happening, or there's just things out of our control. And I never dived into the minutiae of the likes of you and Nurgle and co, but so I was just happy to go and do the missions and participate and do stuff for the squad. But the fact that you could do that and you'd see the impact, and you knew you were having an impact was really important.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the biggest dopamine hit for me with the BGS, was that every day there would be a tick and you would see the movement and you would say, these are the pieces of the puzzle we moved today. And then you could craft your orders, and it would be like you could have things where there would be this long game where if we do this here and we do that there, we're setting ourselves up to do an expansion to over here. And we would do our own version of undermining, where there would be a system that didn't have a they had a system where there's no player minor faction controlling it, and we would be able to retreat out a non-player faction or a dead, long abandoned player faction, and create a spot for ourselves. So we would be working. One person would be working BGS in one system for us, and then we would be working to build up the influence in another. And then we had a couple other people like Bork who, would do the yeoman's work and just cool off the systems of ours that were overheating, that we just didn't want to have overheat, because we didn't want an expansion to go into a system where a friend was trying to get to. And that was the other great thing about it, is that you could coordinate your BGS with your neighbor's BGSs. So
yeah. Well, it brought other player bases into contact with us, and we could support them and them support us, or occasionally we'd run up against them, and that was actually fun too. I won't say the system name because I know you'll have a panic attack, but the one starting with C is a good example.
Yes, that is a great
all
example.
of that was good, as much kind of stress or troubles it might have caused, a little bit like Alexandrinus. It's creating memories and creating kind of real things that we can get behind as a squad, and supporting each other, and finding those ways that we can add some influence or contribute.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I remember there was a couple of times where we had a couple of war councils. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, one of the best times recently I've had was when we were gold washing, and there was a number of us online all at the same time, rushing to get the last bits of deliveries of gold in our Panther Clippers, and before the BGS rolled, or the system rolled over.
Yes.
And it was cool. And I'm not a hauler. I'll do it, and it's okay. But yeah, just that fun and that kind of sense of community and sense of working together is so cool.
No, that was a lot of fun. I mean, it actually kind of kept me awake when I was doing it, because I mean, it was late here in Nashville when I was hauling for that gold washing night. We were trying to, I want to say, push ourselves from exploited to fortified in one of our systems, and it was just, it was like a whole bunch of us on. We were all, chatting on the CBs and chatting and jibber jabbering, and we're like, also, I'm coming into a station, and Roy Cookson's coming out of a station, and then, Mr. Snacks is coming out of a station, and I'm going into a station. I mean, it was just like seeing each other. It was almost like a convoy. So
yeah,
no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Have we kicked the BGS pig enough?
I think so.
All right. So
just one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you feel like, how would you feel if they actually just got rid of the BGS, like hit all that and just said, right, where you guys are at the moment, we're just going to concentrate on power play?
If they gave us more levers in power play, and they gave us missions in power play, I would not be as upset with that. I mean, and as long as our factions could expand with Trailblazers, like we could still do the Trailblazers thing. I mean, there's a certain nostalgia aspect of it, or a sort of the way I'm used to the game sort of way, that I would miss. But, the loose screws are out there. We're out there in space, and we have, like I said, we're in 400 systems. We control 120 systems, 121 systems. We're out there in the stars, and we'll always be out there. So in that sense, I'll be a little bit, bummed. But if a lot of the gameplay from what kind of missions are offered, pairs with power play, I would be good with that, because it's part of it is also like the gameplay I enjoy. I like doing the assassination missions. I like doing, mining and bringing mined goods, for missions. Some of the hauling ones I don't really get excited about, and also the rewards. I mean, I know we get rewards for, raising levels, ad infinitum. We get mini care packages. But those rewards you get from the missions with, 20 engineering mats for a really tough mission, or some of the unique commodities that you can only get that you need, like modular, whatever it is you need to unlock Marcus Quint. There's modular, whatever they are. Things like that, make the mission special. So I would hope they wouldn't get rid of the missions, but if they kind of, use them to jigger power play, I think that would be a good idea in the sense of it would give me another way to undermine. It would give me another way to reinforce and not rely on, okay, well, our ethos is trade and I darn well better have somewhere to gold wash, or I better have somewhere, we better have a Sunteal relic boom soon that will allow us to compete with somebody who can do their thing more by bounty hunting or something like that. And, with our being wedded to our space, I mean, we're Li Yang Rui in part of convenience. Because it's like, I mean, I think most of us would probably be Delaine types or something if we were to actually pick. I mean, really, Trax has brought this up a million times. Most of us would be most happy if there was a none of the above power. And, maybe there would be a different mechanic where it's like all you could do is undermine and you wouldn't actually have space. You would just have the absence of space by kicking people out of space. And they'd have to start all over again or something. And I don't know how they do it, but it would be something that would kind of really represent our squadron's ethos of none of the above. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's just a thought that popped into my head.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought. Absolutely good thought. Short PP report?
Short PP report. And, I can't do the voice, but I can do, PP, you're so big.
Which all right, Trax, you got to record that one.
Right, for you, we are at cycle 75. I can't believe, like, each of these cycles is a week. And we're this far through. So very big raps to Kruger5 for his website k5elite.com and all the information about the rankings. We have, where's my notes? Princess Aisling with the best cycle, 8 new systems, and including a new stronghold and 4 new fortified systems. And a name you don't normally see at the top, but Archon Delaine has placed second with 8 new systems. Our good friend Patreus, true to form, has lost 4 systems. But Mahon has reached 2,000 mark in the systems. So, that's a lot of systems. Leon Rui is carrying on with its progress and gained the second amount of control points this cycle. And where are we? And I can't see how many extra systems. 5 new systems for Leon Rui. 3 fortified and a couple of exploited. So not a huge amount of movement. And I think, am I right in saying that the number of systems is slowing down? And I'm guessing that's maybe colonization is slowing down because it seemed to be almost runaway at one stage.
Yeah, no, I think, I've been hanging out a lot in the Yang Rui Discord as our primary diplomat to Li Yang Rui's home office. But they've really been focused this past cycle on consolidation. They had a few, they gained a number of systems in the last cycle, and they're very intentional in how they approach things. And hang on one second. Okay. They're very intentional in how they approach things. And they want to, sorry, my firewall's about to kick in. Good. It's not going to kick in. They're very intentional in that if they gain a system, they immediately want to inoculate it with 10,000 control points. And then they then start beginning the reinforcement process to get it above 25% so that it's not going to decay. So right now, this past cycle has been largely a cycle of consolidation and reinforcement. In fact, they're actually going to be helping us to reinforce one of our systems as well, trying to get it from fortified to 45 plus 25%. And then, who knows what'll happen after that? I mean, we'll probably let it rest there until we get to a point where we want to really push it, towards a stronghold or something like that. But they're very methodical, almost Borg-like in their approach to, how they do things. And so you're going to see these times where Li Yongru is going to jump with a bunch of systems and then they're going to consolidate. So you're not going to see that much growth other than that we're going to gain points by making things fortified, making things strongholds. And as far as acquisition goes, they really are very careful. They don't want us to just acquire willy-nilly. They want to acquire systems where they're not going to have a hard time or it's going to be an uphill struggle to reinforce it. So, for example, a system that only has one outpost, they're not really enthusiastic about. If they have, really good mining, they're going to be salivating over it, and things like that. Something where there might be some good markets that they can work with. So, so they're very thoughtful and very. They have a long game. I mean, they're the closest thing we have to Dune faction, like the Bene Gesserit or like the Spacing Guild. They're wheels within wheels, and thinking 6 steps ahead. So, but they also don't want to piss anybody else off, and so sort of the Storm und Drang of power play and what we find fun, which is going up against a big bad power, fighting over our system for it. It's something we enjoy, but they don't particularly enjoy it, and they really don't want any headaches to come from it. So that makes us strange bedfellows for them, I think. But there was also another system in Li Yongru space that was a big competition between Archer and Li Yongru, the Apollo system. And so the Apollo system is one of these systems where it is I think it's a colony system that that belongs to one of the members, or it might be a system that one of the members of the Discord has their player minor factions controls it, but it's not a Trailblazers. I'm not sure, but it's a very similar story to what's been going on with us. So where they're dealing with their BGS being messed up and all sorts of other things, and the dogs are being terrorists. So so they were really working neck and neck. I mean, they triggered power conflict zones, and there's a lot of pilots involved, and that's probably where some of the pilots from Alexandrinus went off to, was they were going there to reinforce. And at the 11th hour, our Li Yongru friends dropped 400,000 control points in the last hour and sniped the system. So I might, after all is said and done, I might go over and help them reinforce, because I think they have some mining to reinforce or something. But I'm probably going to go over there and help them reinforce at some point, just because I was excited for that for them. But if you also look at the graphs that Kruger has, we were talking about this last week, and it applies equally this week. Just pull up his graphs that you can't see because we don't do video, because Grover and I have faces for radio. But I mean, Antal just crossed Archer a few cycles ago, and the slope of the Archer line is flattening. I mean, they've been mired down in a couple of quagmires, and I mean, might behoove them to cut their losses. So, I mean, if they have intentions of growth, but I mean, falling behind a bunch of kale eating, smoothie drinking, pinko commies like Antal, it's like, do you really want that, Archer? I mean, really? And Grom's ahead of you too. And I mean, he left the Federation. So, the Federation has fallen on some hard times. You got a president in 9th, you got a shadow president in 7th. I mean, you guys have Earth, for Pete's sake, show some pride, the cradle of humanity. So, yeah, but there's a lot to talk about in power play.
There is. No, it's really interesting, and I do like the way Kruger and Nicey have done their rankings, because it's got a lot more thought than just the simple number of systems.
Yeah. I mean, again, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, all systems are equal, but some are more equal than others. So
yes, no, for sure. I mean, because to get from exploited to fortify is a lot of control points, and to get from fortified to stronghold is a lot more control points. So, like, sort of having the number of control points that your power controls overall, that's something to. I mean, that's something that should be weighted, and it's a vast oversimplification that once one power has a lot of strongholds and a lot of fortified systems, they're putting a lot of work in to do that. They're playing the game a lot. You're putting a lot of hours in. They have a lot of the pilots doing their thing, and Rocco's trying to eat my laptop again. Stop it.
I was going to say, it sounded like Rocco had something to say as well.
Yeah, he did have something to say as well. I mean, he's a Grom sympathizer, I think. So, yeah, he just likes all of his treats, and likes to control the means of production. So that's how he is. Yeah. But it's just I mean, it's like it's such a heavy lift to get to stronghold and fortified that it should be rewarded. And it'd be really interesting to index the control points by commanders in each faction. And I know that's also a dynamic number, so it's not something that would be like an accurate mapping. But I mean, the biggest thing that Aisling Duval has is that she has the power of millions of sips just out there supporting the blue-haired princess.
Yeah,
they just love her. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, she's cute and all, but whatever. So
that photo of her is 10 years old, though. So
I know. Yeah, she probably got some crow's feet
in the past.
Yeah. Although those progenitor cells, I mean, they'll keep you young.
Well, yeah, the Empire, they breed them for the long run.
They do. So, all right. Anything else with power play you wish to add? I mean, how are you doing in the unblocking the initial missions part of?
Yeah, I could not find a system that worked in terms of undermining. I went to all kinds of different systems. I used the Galaxy Map tools. I went online and tried to find stuff and watched YouTube tutorials, and I even went to Alexandrinus, and no, that didn't work. I was just selling one at a time. I had, I just had Lavia and Brandy. I had to sell rares.
And you had to sell it to multiple systems, or just tons?
No, just a undermining system. So I went to Antel systems that were kind of said we were undermining, and I went to our systems that were kind of reinforcing to see if, because just because it says that that's what it's after doesn't actually mean that that's what's going to tick the box in the background. Yeah, so but that's all right. I had a short amount of time, and then things ticked over, and I was more interested in worrying about jobs and stuff. So I'll carry on doing that, and maybe do some election stuff tonight. Can tell me those one thing, when we were doing that gold washing rush,
yes,
and we overtook Archer and the control points, but they still won the week.
Yeah,
because they had a bigger bomb. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were holding, but they probably had a data bomb of some form that allowed them to snipe us. But like I said, their big thing is combat, and so I'm kind of surprised that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if dropping bounties. I mean, normally you acquire bounties in real time, so for then you would expect to see a steady rise of things. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure how they did it, but they probably had a data bomb handy at that time. So, I mean,
Because in game, it looked like
I can't exactly go and ask them. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Trade
Tell us your
secrets.
secrets.
What you do?
Yeah. We tell you ours every week.
Yeah. So
sweet.
Yeah. All right. Dev news. There really is no dev news. So there's a Steam sale, and FDev is having a publisher sale until the 16th. The deluxe edition of Elite Dangerous is going for $8.74. Ignore those others. This is the bundle you want. It has the core game and Odyssey bundled together, so you don't have to think about if you want to get Odyssey. And then a lot of those titles are for 80 to 95% off. But for those of you who want to create an alt, Steam is calling you until the 16th. And that brings us to Galnet News. All right, Kiwi, what do you got for Galnet News?
Galnet News. The Radicoida Unica Research Initiative has finished. The community goal got up to, is it level 4?
Yes, tier 4.
But yep, finished. 75% of commanders are jumping up and down in their new Maverick suits, I think.
Not yet. They're not jumping up and down in their Maverick suits yet.
They're jumping up and down in their grade 5 Artemis suits, waiting for their Maverick suits.
Yes. They because it finished early. The rewards don't come until after the time that it was supposed to complete.
Yeah.
So, and then even then, I remember several community goals where things didn't drop until like the Saturday after, so the weekend or what have you. So everybody hold tight. They will get you your Maverick suits.
Yeah. I wonder how people participating in Distant Worlds 3 felt. I'm glad they didn't do the Artemis suit community goal in the middle of the Distant Worlds 3, and they actually did it beforehand.
Yep.
But yeah, that FOMO for a lot of commanders must have been real, because it was a decent prize or reward for participating and getting high enough if you were into kind of the more combat or the more ground based kind of game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw that and I was contemplating participating just to get a G5 suit, but I don't do on feet. And so I have to completely learn how to do it. And I died plant gunning. The last time my character died was plant gunning. I ran out of oxygen because I was like, I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I didn't realize that you had to sample 3 of the same thing and they had to be somewhat far away from each other. And I was just trying to figure it out as I go. Now, could I have watched a video and figured it out? Yeah, I could have done that, but I'm not a watch a video kind of guy. So
yeah.
But so that was a good reward. I mean, I like seeing that they're doing community goals for the on foot stuff in addition to the space stuff. I mean, even if it's something I don't really get involved with, I think it's long overdue with Odyssey, but I think it took them a while to kind of help Odyssey get its footing. So I think it's getting into a little bit of a groove now, which is good. And I think it's getting people ready for the new release coming out at the end of the month. So
which both of us have forgotten the name of.
Yes, exactly. So it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
It's been a long week. It's Friday for me.
It's Friday for you. I hate you. So it'll be Friday for me in about 3 hours. So
it's a pretty good Friday actually. I'll enjoy it when it gets.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've had beautiful weather up here all the whole time. All right, Community Corner. So community corner. Do you want that? Because I mean, your thing was really short.
Okay, yeah. Community corner. I'll channel my my Alec Turner. Distant Worlds 3 waypoint is we're going to read it out. You can go and find it yourself.
Yeah.
But they are getting ready for their next one, I think. Come and have a look in our Discord and our exploration channel, because there are a whole bunch of really gorgeous photos that have been placed there by DJ Wiley. His latest one is one of the ringed neutron stars. Absolutely stunning. So it's a good place to kind of live vicariously through what he's doing. And next thing, Buckyball, the prison circuit winners. We have Epaphras in the regulation leaderboard class winning, and Shay Blackwood in the open class, both with Cobra Mark 5s.
Shay was the only Cobra Mark 5 to place in the open class. So, I mean, Shay's is not street legal. So he's a... No, he's got a fast and furious Cobra Mark 5. So I would love to see that build. So.
It'd be good to see if any of our guys have been carrying on with some of the buckyball stuff, but that one looked like a really good, really interesting kind of race.
Now, I know Boob's been a big fan of the buckyball, but we ought to check in with him and see if he's been doing that. I know he's been playing a little bit, and I know he's been wandering in and out of our Discord in the general chat, but we haven't really talked to him much about buckyball. I mean, it's been sort of a little bit more of a custom season this year rather than any sort of, here's the series this year. So, which is good. I think it'll give him a chance to recharge for next season. So, anything else in the community corner?
Our stellar screenshots. Now I'm going to try and play some of these
names are horrible.
Mactavius Mirth, Osilrin, Sheba Snoot, Vegovic, Frog's Friend, Gian Franz Croatia, Inra Tiegan, John Blackbeard, and Lenquix. All getting there. Is it still a ASP Explorer paint job?
Yes, it's still an ASP Explorer. I mean,
they really need to change that.
They do. They should. It would be really great if they upgrade that to one of the newer ships, whether it's a Caspian or it's the Mandalay or some sort of Explorer ship would be really nice for them to have a stellar screenshot skin. I submitted a few a while back and never got one. So maybe the next time I go out exploring, I'll try to take a few shots or something and see what I can get or what have you. I mean, sometimes it's kind of, they pick product placement. There was a few that were from the Radicoida community goal, some stunning shots of the Radicoida, but they still got some really gorgeous Explorer shots. And then there was a nice Thargoid, thanks to Mactavius. He, so reminding us that the Thargoids are still out there. So, all right.
Yeah. Well, Frontier, get on that, like change it up a bit, eh?
Yeah, that would be really great.
It'll encourage more people to get involved too. Yeah. And final thing on Community Corner, pretty much everything is still on sale in the store as the timing of the creation of these notes. So go and grab yourself some stuff, use up some of your arcs, and give yourself a bit of pizzazz and use your stuff up. And that's it.
All right, that's a show. So to wrap up, you can find us at our website, loosescrewcd.com. There you'll find our link to our Discord, and join us in our Discord. We're a lot of fun. Support us on Patreon. All of our Patreon dollars goes back to the community in one way, shape, or form. So, feel free to contribute to that. And with that, I want to thank Grover for joining me tonight. Otherwise, you would have been subjected to a solo podcast, which would have been utterly, absolutely dreadful. And there's still hope that
not quite solo.
Happen.
We had Rocco.
Oh, we did have Rocco. I mean, he was just being a little feral beast. All right. And so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Grover. And good luck to our friends in Artemis 2 tomorrow. You're coming, or today for Grover, but they're coming back to Earth, and they have a 2-degree window to do it. So thoughts and prayers to them. Yeah, they're brave as all get out. So they get a lot of credit for that. So, all right. Well, with that, we're out of here. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night.